Hi, this is a Q&A to answer some of your questions that you might have about crystals and crystal healing. So a big thank you to everyone who submitted a question online in social media. Some really interesting questions were sent in and I'm trying to get to some of those today. Hi, if you're new, my name is Ethan Lazzerini and I'm the author of 3 crystal healing books, including the Amazon #1 bestseller, Crystal Grid's Power. Yes, so I've got a couple of recommendations for you if you're someone who is being intimidated or you have anyone around you that you would consider a bully, whether that's online or workplace, in your environment, school, college, wherever it is. And they are mentioned in my book. If you've got psychic protection crystals, you'll know about these two. So the two crystals I recommend for bullying would be gold sheen obsidian, and it's not too hard to find, but it's not the most common stone. And the other protective stone is tiger's eye. So both of them have kind of the energy of strengthening your solar plexus. And this is a really important shield of energy that you can activate when you're dealing with these people who primarily are designed to shrink your energy or push you down. So having that kind of support and strength behind you, that either of those stones could be used, gives you self-confidence, self-belief, and stops you allowing other people to kind of approach onto your energy, so that you're kind of pushing away that kind of oppressive energy and not allowing it to affect you, because we can't really control what other people are doing, but in time people would normally back off if they notice you're not affected so much by what they're saying and doing. So I hope that does help you. Okay, so the short answer to this is yes, you can wear more than one crystal of the same color or chakra association. And that is essentially they're all harmonious. So if something's red, all red stones are all connected, they're all working with and channeling the same energies. They often share similar properties. So there's nothing wrong with using more than one crystal of the same color or chakra association if you want to and need to. And yes, of course, different stones, like different red stones, will have different properties, and you might choose one crystal, let's say, for energy, and another one you're actually choosing for self confidence. And it doesn't matter that they're both red or they're both root chakra stones. So, yes, you absolutely can do that. Probably already be aware of citrine is known as the merchant stone, but I want to give you 3 other stones that I think you should check out. So moss agate, and what that does, it helps you grow your business, it will help you build prosperity, and it gives you patience, because these types of things are not sort of overnight successes. Things take time, especially if you've got your own business. So I think that's a really good stone for you. The other one is pyrite, and that is because it helps with active participation in creating wealth. It also works with the mind, so it's good for creative problem solving and forming strategies to help you with your business and creating more money in your life. And the other one is sardonyx, which is a mixture of onyx and sard. And this stone's not that well known. I see a lot of people don't seem to be aware of it. I've now got the sun on me. Sardonyx, which helps you with pursuing goals, taking action, and determination, all things that you'll need on your path to creating a business. So I hope those help you out. If you're enjoying this video so far, then please give it a thumbs up, and this way others on YouTube will be able to find these videos so they can benefit too. Thank you. So a lot of people sort of think this. And yes, to some degree, there'll be some interaction between the energies of different crystals when they're stored all together in maybe a box or something that you've got there. But what you have to remember is, crystals and minerals, when they grow inside the earth, they occur with like some of other minerals they're interacting with in their growth, in the caves that they're found. A lot of these things are the reason crystals are green, is copper, iron is turning things purple and red. So there's lots of interaction. It doesn't take away from the natural properties and energies of the original crystal. So personally, don't worry too much about it. It's easier when you've got fewer crystals to store everything separately. and easier to find things. So absolutely, where possible, split things up to make it easier to find all your crystals, but it's not always practical, especially when you've got lots of crystals to do that. So what I try to do is I separate my crystals by color and chakra associations where possible. With bigger crystals, you're just going to have them next to each other, and that is that. Okay, so with crystals that you've got on an altar, it's similar to a display crystal, so a crystal that's around your home. And of course, it's completely personal, but just my opinion on this is that when a crystal is on display, yes, it will take on energies and be influenced, so it still needs cleansing. Once a month is usually okay and enough for a crystal on an altar if it's, something you're not picking up, meditating with fairly often, it's just on display. I think once a month, cleansing your altar space or any crystals that you have out is something that you might be doing anyway, because if you cleanse your house once a month, which is advised, that is a good cycle to work with, you'll be cleansing everything in your home. So whether you use sound, smoke, or another method, you should be able to get everything cleansed when you space clear a room or your home. And the other thing is, if you are being more interactive with them, or you're doing a lot of work at your altar, you might want to cleanse more often. So I know some people that might do it once a week. Don't feel you need to do it. It's just a case of depending what you're doing at your altar. If you feel there's a lot of energy going on and you're doing a lot of spiritual work, you might want to cleanse more often than once a month as well. As far as crystals for negative karma clearing, working through karma and releasing the karma, which is what they're going to do, is amethyst, charoite, and also phantom quartz. So you could try those things to help you if that's something you're working on. Because you probably found out that if you have a lot of crystals, it does become harder and harder to remember what all the crystals are, what their names are. So one of the benefits of being on social media can be, like me, if you're sharing your new crystals online, you'll have a kind of digital record. So one thing you could do to help you is to do that. So even if it's private, take photos of the crystals and have their name on the file name, or you can drop them into a document like a Word document and create a little catalogue of all your crystal collection and the names of those crystals. Of course, having books that have photos of crystals, mineral books, crystal healing books that are like a dictionary, they're always going to be helpful too. If you do forget the name of the crystal or what the crystal is, having a good visual guide is helpful. So those are my tips. I know some people use mineralogy kind of boxes, but again, they're not so great after you have like over 50 plus crystals in your collection. It becomes very hard. And before I get on to the rest of these questions, please subscribe if you're not already, if you want to see more videos like this. Okay, so there's different ideas and traditions around crystals, particularly around gemstones, that might have some rules you might have come across online. I know that in Vedic tradition, there is Vedic gem law. There are certain rules, but what I practice and what you'll see under the umbrella term of crystal healing, which is a more of a modern practice that is based on older traditions, we don't have much focus on that. So what I mean by that is every crystal of one type, like whether it's, let's say, malachite, all malachite has the properties, the mineral makeup, and the energy of malachite. So whether you have a very beautiful museum grade, high quality, gem quality piece, or whether you've got a lower grade piece that was cheap and maybe quite full of imperfections, won't really matter because the same minerals are there and it's used in much the same way. Of course, if you're drawn to a higher quality piece, then that piece is right for you. And yes, there is some truth that when crystals have more clarity to them, they sometimes have a stronger energy. And I think people have picked that up over the years. And that's where the idea comes from. But to say if something is not like A grade gem quality jade, that it doesn't have the same qualities, power, or energy of the lower quality piece is not true, in my opinion, and really shouldn't be a concern of yours. So I hope that helps you make a decision on that. So just choose the piece that you're drawn to, that feels right for you, and that you can afford. term crystal healing is an umbrella term, and yes, there'll be people that will only work with crystals under the scientific classification of what a crystal is. But someone like me and a lot of people out there will work with other things that aren't technically crystals because they still have everything has energy, right? And of course, there are things in the mineral world that don't fit into these boxes that, humans invented these terms. This is a mineral, this is a crystal, this is a rock, um, this is a mineraloid, an organic gemstone. The term gemstone, they all have different meanings, but in terms of crystal healing, you can actually use them all. So you absolutely can use things that aren't technically crystals, such as fossils, and ancient people didn't have these rules. So to them, they would have put a fossilized ammonite on someone's body or carried it with them or wore it or placed it somewhere because it's got the energy, which is still from the earth. So a fossilized shark tooth is now fossilized, so it's got certain minerals in there. Even though it's not a crystal, it can be used in a similar way. It has an energy which will affect your energy, and it has meanings associated with it. So for something like that, in terms of what does it mean, it's personal to you, but I'd imagine it'll be carrying some of the energy of a shark in an almost shamanic way. And then you've got that in a crystallized form of mineralization, which is what has happened with the fossil. So yeah, you absolutely can use fossils in crystal healing if you want to, and I personally will do and do use fossils as well. Yeah, this type of topic is complex. My general advice is don't put too much focus on this or worry too much about this. Nature is filled with different elements that interact with each other, and the mineral kingdom is exactly the same. It's more about your intention. So if you pick a crystal, let's say you've got a stone that you're wearing for communication, and then you've got another stone on you for energy, it doesn't matter that one might be air and one's fire, elements and energies, it doesn't matter. The only thing that I do sometimes say to people is to think about competing intentions. So for me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that you've got a stone to energize you, and yet you've got another one to keep you calm, because those to me seem in conflict with each other. I do consider those to be odd things to pair together. Try to pick your stones intentionally, and you really shouldn't have a problem. As far as whoever said that green aventurine and quartz don't go, that's their opinion. It makes no sense to me, as aventurine, all different colors, is a quartz-based mineral. So to me, when you have any stones which are of the same mineral group or related mineral group, they're very compatible. When they're of the same color, they're very compatible. If they have the same chakra associations, they're going to be compatible. The other one would be if they have the same properties, they're going to be compatible or they work together. That's how I think of it. I focus more on that. Just think about how does this stone help me towards my intention, and you shouldn't really go far wrong. So crystal skulls absolutely can be used in crystal grids, and the place I would most likely think, because they're such a powerful form, is to place them as your central stone. And the reasons you would choose a skull form will depend on you. Obviously, the crystal it's made from is the first priority of why you chose the energy. If it's carved into a skull, then it could be used for ancestral crystal grids, it could be used for ones connected with guides or spiritual helpers that you're working with. Skulls are also symbols of transformation. They can be communication with spirit guides and things like that as well. They can also be a protective form. So those would be the reasons why I might use a crystal skull in a crystal grid, and how that skull can help you. Even the same with around the home, if you're leaving a crystal skull out, it's kind of going to have those properties in addition to whatever stone it was carved from. So in terms of whereabouts in the home, obviously people that work with crystal skulls will often have them on an altar or a sacred space that they consider to be important for their spiritual practice. If you were to use it maybe more for protection, you could place a skull in the entranceway coming in your home. Obviously your neighbors might find that a little strange. The same with placing a protective form such as a crystal skull in the window. Think about that. You know, not everyone might understand it, but that could be another way it could be done. So hopefully this video has been helpful, and if you want to see more Q&A style videos, let me know in the comments. See, I was not able to answer everyone's question, and some of the questions I got were a bit too involved or deep, and for me to do them justice, I would need to film a whole video just on those topics. There were a few questions I got about crystal grid activation, which is definitely a topic I would like to cover more in a whole video to properly do it, because it will cause confusion if I simplify that process too much for you. So I'll probably use that idea in the future. So thank you for everyone who's given me ideas for more things to cover on the channel. So in the meantime, if you check out the video I do have on my YouTube channel, which is the simple crystal grid for healing, that video will show you a really basic and very simple and easy to do way of activating a crystal grid. And that activation method could be used for any intention, any type of grid. I don't believe you need a different type of activation method for different intentions. So just pick the method you like and use that. So that video should be appearing on screen now. So check that out if you're interested in learning more. You can also check out my books, which contain my most in-depth, step-by-step information on crystals and crystal healing. And I've included all the links to my books below in the description.